Today we're going to begin standing up for some deep breathing. So let's just take our hands right around the base of our ribs and try to give ourselves a squeeze from all sides, front, sides, and back. Start breathing through your nose. And see if you can get your hands or feel expansion in your ribs with your hands in all directions, to the front, to the side, and into the back especially. All right, so I'm going to give you about a minute to focus on that backside expansion with your breath. If you do this correctly, your shoulders will stay relaxed and down. Almost imagine heavy shoulders. As you proceed through the minute, try to drive more air into the back of the ribs than elsewhere. Keep those shoulders heavy and down. For the next minute, we're going to allow our hands to relax away from our body. Find a little more heaviness in the shoulders. And at your own pace, extend the length of your breath. Try to match the length of your inhale and exhale. If you're not sure where to start, begin with a 3-count inhale and a 3-count exhale. With each breath, add a second. So you got a 4-count in and a 4-count out, extending that breath out to the longest breath that you feel comfortable with. I'll give you one more minute to practice. Go for one more really long breath from wherever you're at. And when you're ready, we're going to jump into a variety of spine drills. The first is going to be a wall peel exercise. This helps us learn to segment or move one bone at a time from the upper spine down. So all you're going to need is an open section of wall. Go ahead and set yourself up like you're going to do a wall sit. So your feet should be pretty generously away from the wall, 1.5 feet or even 2 feet, with a slight bend in your knees. Next, get your low spine against the wall and slowly work as much of the upper spine against the wall as you can without removing any spots from below. Once you get as much of your spine on the wall as possible, I'd like you to take a second and practice breathing and flattening ever so slightly into the wall as you breathe out. As if you're letting your spine mold the shape of the wall. This should feel somewhat like lengthening your spine out, especially around the base of your neck. When you're ready, we're going to bring our hands down to our thighs for a little bit of support and a little bit of resistance as well. So as you peel your spine off the wall, I want you to create friction between your hands and your legs so that there's a little bit of effort required to curl the spine away from the wall. Begin when you're ready, curling down slowly and segmentally. Try to observe each bone peeling off the stack of the spine until you reach a point where the space that's behind your belly button has left the wall, but your pelvis is still entirely on the wall and your belt buckle is still pointing in a horizontal direction. When you get to this position, we're going to use our breath to create more spine flexion. Take a large inhale And as you exhale, try to bring your collarbones closer to your stomach without removing anything else from the wall. Do that 2 times. And then slowly climb back up the wall. This exercise should be performed relatively slowly to give you time to become aware of what's moving. So that said, everyone's going to work at different paces. So I'm just going to give you guys 90 more seconds on the clock to keep practicing this. And make sure you're taking those 2 breaths at the bottom and using the exhale to express more spine flexion. Go ahead and continue whenever you're ready. As you proceed through the next couple reps, try to make it feel like your spine is melting, like you're just releasing tension and things move with a little bit more fluidity and less rigidity. You got about 30 seconds left, which should be enough time for one more complete rep from wherever you're at. When you're all done, let's take a break off the wall real quick. And we're going to talk about our next wall peel variation. So I'm going to stay off the wall to show you this one a little bit more closely. But essentially, this previous variation we peeled down from the top. What we're going to do next is just leave the base of the neck and like top of the shoulders on the wall. And we're going to jut our pelvis forward to get our entire spine off the wall. We'll use this shape to create extension. So we want to feel like this arching of the spine instead of a flat back just jutting the pelvis forward. So we want to create this curvature this way. All right, once you've established that curve, we're going to try to keep the big gap between the spine and the wall and bring the pelvis back to the wall first, and then reset the spine into the wall from bottom to top. So on the wall, it's going to look something a little bit more like this. Use the same stance, feet far off the wall. We're going to flatten into the wall and bridge the pelvis away and have just the neck. Then we're going to try to create that arch, a roundedness this way. And the first thing to come back to the wall is my belt. And here, the back of my pelvis is touching, but I know you can't see it, but there's a gap everywhere else. It's just the pelvis, tailbone, and the upper back on the wall. Then segmenting, I'm going to start very low in my spine and try to get the bottom of my spine to contact the wall first. I'm going to close that gap in my spine from bottom up, like you're zipping up a coat up into the wall. This one is considerably more difficult, so take your time. Just like before, we're going to go about 90 seconds. I'm going to take you through one rep if you want to follow me, and then from there it's on your own. So whole spine on the wall, pelvis and shoulders. Pelvis is going to jut forward, so it's just the base of our neck and shoulders in the wall. Then we're going to find as much arch, so stick your belly out, pull your ribs forward, pull your chest up. Squeeze your back muscles. Keep the arch. Bring the tailbone back to the wall. It's still pulling belly and chest off the wall. Here you only have 2 points of contact, base of neck and tailbone. Then start at the lowest possible segment, right above the tailbone, below your belly button, tipping your belt up. We're going to set that segment into the wall. And then one at a time, try to work our way up the wall without skipping ahead to any spots. Once you get the entire spine back on the wall, you just reset the pelvis forward, re-arch the spine, and begin again. We'll do about 1 minute longer. give it 1 or 2 more reps from wherever you're at. And then we're going to move along. Let's give our spine a slight break after this. Let's check in with some other upper body cars. We'll come back to a standing base. We're going to take our hands and gently clasp them together behind our back. Any grip on each other is fine with me as long as you're comfortable. Keeping the grip of your hands together, we're going to reach both hands to the floor. That sinks our shoulders down. Freeze in this position. Let's go for a couple neck cars in each direction. With your jaw shut, bring your chin in to give yourself a double chin, and then down to your chest. Circle around to one side. Draw the biggest circle you can with your chin, avoiding pinch points or pain. Keep squeezing your hands together and reaching for the floor. Your body from the collarbones down should be perfectly still. The only thing that's moving is your head and neck. Once you finish the second repetition in this direction, we're going to switch directions for 2 more rounds. When you're all set with your neck cars, our next base position is going to be a half kneeling base. So come on down to the ground and make sure you have enough padding for your knees so you can comfortably be here. You won't need anything else, nothing for balance I don't think, but if you want something to hold on to for balance nearby, not a bad idea. So we're going to set up, try to mirror me if possible, so you're going to put your left leg forwards and your right knee down. And we're going to practice scapular cars from a variety of spine positions. So first what we're going to do is left arm straight out and kind of down at this angle here so that our outside of our hand or our forearm is resting on the outside of the knee joint. Well, I want you to keep your spine tall as if you're reaching the top of your head up toward the ceiling and maintaining that sense of tallness. We're going to slide the arm forwards and down, shrug it up, keeping the hand on the knee, pulling the shoulder blade back toward the spine, anti-shrugging to the floor, and continue this way. So backward rolling scapular cars. We're going to do just 2 in this direction before switching. Right here with me, reverse, down and back and shrug, shrug and reach forward and away, forward and down. Keep going, 1 more time this way. All right, when you're done, we're going to stay with the same leg and switch the arm. So to switch the arm, we're also going to add rotation of our spine. So let's put your left hand on your hip, and with your right arm crossing over your left thigh, we're going to turn your chest to face to the left. So take a breath in, exhale, rotate your spine left. Take 1 more breath that way, rotating slightly farther. Now here's the tricky part, is your chest has turned to the left, and I want it to stay pointing in the same direction. So picture where your chest is pointing to on the wall and keep it pointing at that spot while your right shoulder does shoulder blade carves. So the same direction as first, we're going to reach down and forwards, and then forwards into a shrug, shrugging and pulling the right shoulder blade back. Chest stays still. We're going right shoulder back and down. A second time around, down and forwards, forwards and up and back, back and down and forwards, and here we will reverse. So we're going down and back, back and shrug. A little different operating over here, right? Shrug and forwards, forwards down, and give it one more time around. When you're finished, stay in this leftward rotation and keep blocking your right arm across your left thigh. Let's do a couple left arm shoulder cars. So take your left hand off your hip, make a fist, and go ahead and begin your first shoulder car, reaching across your chest with your palm up, sliding your bicep up to your ear. When you get stuck overhead, freeze that arm high and turn your palm outside. Keep turning your entire arm over that way as you trace out the rest of your circle. Try to keep your chest and spine still. The hand will arrive at the hip with the palm facing out, at which point we are going to reverse directions and reach straight back. Check your spine somewhere around here. You still should be in that leftward rotation. And then externally rotate your arm, continuing to trace out the biggest circle possible with that left arm. When you get back in front of your body, just begin a second rep. Nice and slow. Slow enough so that you can be simultaneously aware of your arm and your body position. Challenge the breadth of your awareness. Keep that shoulder car nice and slow, a little slower than you want to go. When you finish, we have one more thing from this rotated position. And we're going to try to do a wall peel, or an imaginary wall peel, from this rotated spine. So we're all rotated to the left. We're going to keep our right arm as a block to assist us in this leftward rotation. And we're just going to pretend there's a wall behind our back, and we're going to peel off the wall. Okay, so start with your upper spine. We're just going to peel off the imaginary wall. Our collarbones are coming down toward our left hip pocket. Curving the spine as much as we can without changing the pelvis position. Bring your collarbones as close to your left back pocket as possible. Hang out for a second and breathe. And then segmentally from the bottom up, we're going to work to extend the spine, restacking into that tall shape back on the imaginary wall. We're going to do one more. Let's try to rotate a little farther before we do the second rep. So take a big breath in. Upon exhaling, turn more to your left. Hold this position of rotation, peel down the imaginary wall. Upper spine first, middle spine second. Stomach is crinkling last. Bring those collarbones as close to your hip pocket as possible. Hold the bottom position and breathe. Slowly restack up the imaginary wall. Diggity-dope. Once you finish, we'll switch sides. We're going to repeat the same process again on the opposite side. So now you got your right leg up and your left knee down. We're going to start with scapula cars in your right. So first we want to establish a tall spine. So take the top of your head and reach it toward the ceiling. That will lengthen your spine. Right hand resting out on the outside of right knee. Make sure the hand stays in contact with the knee so it doesn't lift off as we're doing our shoulder blade cars. Start here. We're going to slide down and forwards without turning the chest. Then we're going to shrug up and then pull back. Back and an anti-shrug down. Elbow is straight. That's the tricky part. Down and forwards. Reaching low again one more time. Shrug up. Up and back. Back and down. Ask for more. All directions. Down and forwards. Freeze here and reverse. Go down and back. Keep that elbow straight. Back and shrug. Shrug and reach forward. Forward and slide down. Give it one more lap around this way. When you finish, same leg stance, opposite arm. So we're going to take our left arm across our right knee on the outside. Now we're going to establish rotation of the spine. So take a breath in. Turning your chest to the right as you breathe out. When you get stuck, hold, breathe again. Rotate slightly farther if you can. Very important, you visualize where your chest is pointing. Keep it pointing at the same spot. Left shoulder blade cars. Reaching down and forwards. Shrug up and pull back. As you pull back, check your chest. Keep it pointed to the right. Back and down. Down and forwards. Forwards and up. Last lap this way, up and back. Back and down. Down and forwards. Freeze and reverse. Down and back. Back and up. Check that rotation of the spine. Up and forwards. Forwards down. Down and back. Last one. Back and up. Up and forwards. Forwards and down. All right, this left arm is going to remain on the thigh or knee as a block to hold us in this rotation. Your right arm's going to make a fist. We're going shoulder cars over here. So turn the palm up and cross toward the pinky. And then lift palm to sky, bicep brushing the cheek. As you show me that best overhead position, then turn the palm out. The entire arm should be continually attempting to turn for the rest of this circle as you drift the hand slowly to the hip. Once you arrive at the hip, reverse directions. Really reach back here into this roadblock, find that stretch, and then externally rotate your arm so that your thumb points behind you, and pull back towards your thumb as you draw out the biggest circle possible. Bicep to ear, and then fade in front. We got some speedy cars in this house today. Slow it down. One more time. Remember, it's about the breadth of your attention. Try to be aware of your entire body all at the same time. If your car is going too fast, you won't have that awareness. Nice job, guys. Keep it all at the same slow speed. Bring it around the opposite way. Nice. Really good. Very slow. When you're all set, we're going to move into spine flexion, wall peels, imaginary wall peels. So we're going to stay in our rightward rotation. Let's take a breath and rotate a little farther if we can, just to establish our full rotation of the spine in this direction. Picture a wall behind you, as if you're flat against the wall. Start to peel down off that wall. Upper section of the spine first, segmentally working your way down. Bringing the collarbones toward the back pocket on the right hip. When you can't go any lower, stop and breathe. Exhale for more. Slowly start to peel up the wall. You should still be in a rightward rotation. Once you get as tall as you can, start your second rep. Peeling down. Collarbones to right back pocket. You cannot go any lower. Hold and breathe. Slowly peel up. Very nice. And then we're going to unwind. All right. Well, they're going to use some quadruped base now for getting into more spine extension. So let's move away from segmented movement, which is one vertebrae at a time, into global movement. So global movement is moving your entire spine all together. Let's start with a standard cat-cow. And for this, let's try to focus more of our efforts and attention on the positions of spine extension. Specifically, I'm looking for you to try to become aware of parts of your spine that may not be moving into extension as much as others. For many of us, our low back, or especially the junction between low and upper back, is really good at extending, and other places are not. So try to spread motion out into your very upper spine and very lower spine. So when you're ready, you're going to exhale, rounding your back, collarbones toward belt. And then inhale as you arch your back. Once you come to what feels like a fully arched position, hold and look for more. Scan the upper, middle, and lower spine and ask for more motion this way. And when you're sure you've expressed all the motion that is possible for you right now, then switch back into flexion. So we're not going to hang out too long in flexion. We'll just move right back into extension. And again, taking that moment to pause, scan, and ask for more movement where it's available. Let's continue for one more minute. Your breathing should be steady, even, and soft. It can be very easy to inadvertently hold your breath, especially when looking for more movement. That's the most important time to continue breathing. We want to communicate to our nervous system that we are in control and we are safe. Should have enough time for 2 more repetitions, back and forth. All right, as we proceed, the next couple drills are going to be focused on helping us separate extension of the lumbar spine or the lower back from extension of the thoracic spine or the upper back. We will be doing some pills and rails for spine work, for spine extension a little bit later, and so having this sense of separation is an important prerequisite for those following pills and rails. First up, we're going to work on the lower spine extension. We'll use a blocked position for this. So you're going to set our upper spine into flexion and hold it there. Starting in quadruped, you're going to rock yourself back to your elbows and then plant the top of your head down on the floor between your hands. Cupping your hands around the back of your head, drive your shoulders and rib cage as far forward as you're comfortable. And make sure here you're resting the weight on your arms more than you are your head and neck. Done correctly, you should feel like you can't go any farther forward, and there's a big round or curve in your upper back. In this shape, our upper back is trapped. It won't move as we cat-cow in our low spine only. So go ahead, and just like before, we're going to arch one way and hold. And we're looking to amplify our effort for extension, but trying to keep that effort localized only to the low spine. After a breath or two, you're going to tuck your tailbone and round your low spine as much as you can. But just like previously, we're going to spend more time, effort, and attention in extension. We're really trying to squeeze the low back muscles without letting that effort spread upwards into the thoracic spine. We'll go for approximately 1 more minute. And I want you to check in once in a while and make sure you're still rocked forward, shoulders over elbows and head. Once again, the most important part of this drill is finding the contraction around your low back without allowing it to spread into your upper back. Separate. Make sure you're breathing smoothly and softly. Let's give it a couple more repetitions in each direction. When you're done, you can come on out of this base position. So next up, we're going to look to do the same idea, but in our upper spine only without working in our lower spine. So let's create a tactile border for ourselves. If you use one hand to find your belly button, and you trace a line sideways around to the side, you're going to get to the base of your ribs. And it's that point at the base of your ribs that's the border between our lower back and our upper back. So in this next exercise, you want to feel upper back contractions above this level and not below this level. Okay? So our base position here is going to be a collapsed quadruped, sitting our hips back on our heels and having our hands just in front of our knees on the floor. If your knees are not tolerant of this position, all you have to do is take a pillow or a yoga block and set it on top of your heels. So when you sit down, it's on the block instead of on your feet. This reduces how much bend we have in our knees. Next, feel your hips, whether they're on your feet or on a block. We don't want the pelvis or hips to move on that surface. We're going to try to cat-cow on our upper back only. So rounding our upper back without wrinkling the stomach. Because again here, we're trying to move above the base of the ribs and not below. As you move into extension, your goal is to amplify the effort to extend the upper back without allowing that effort to run down below your ribs. I'll give you 1 minute to practice. Just like our other two previous drills, the majority of your time and attention should be spent looking for more upper spine extension. If you feel the shape of your stomach changing, that's another indication that you are moving in your lumbar spine. If you notice that, try to keep that movement localized to your rib cage. Let's go for a couple more reps. Make sure you're taking a breath or two in the position of spine extension. On your last repetition into extension, I really want you to burn this sensation into your mind, because you're going to look to find this sensation a little bit later, but without having your hips blocked on your feet. All right, when you're finished, we're going to need to get out that chair or ottoman, whatever you have in your space. So for this, we're going to be doing an elevated prayer, cat and cow, to kind of warm us up in the position. And then we're going to use this base position primarily to help us expand how much thoracic extension we can express. So if you're not sure what I'm talking about, watch my demonstration, then you can hop in. So elevated prayer is going to be 2 elbows on the object in front of us with the palms together. And then we're going to shift our hips back. We want our knees to be somewhere underneath our hips so we have good support, but we don't want to be so tucked up underneath us so we don't have room to move. We definitely don't want the knees well behind us because then we don't have enough support. So from here, your head can either rest on the edge of the object, or if you're comfortable, you can let your head pass through or by the object and hang closer to the floor. Now, let's try a few cat-cows from here. So your spine is arched, and then you're going to globally move that spine into flexion, rounding the back, and then globally move back into extension. The reason I'm having you do this is to give you a moment to observe that there's actually a couple things happening here. The spine is moving into extension and flexion, but your shoulder joint is also involved and is also changing. We want to understand the separation between the two to enhance our accuracy when we get to pails and rails. So as you're cat-cowing, I want you to observe the angle of your upper arm relative to your chest. As that angle opens and closes, that's motion at your shoulder. In comparison, let's look at now the distance between our collarbones and our belly button. This distance represents the upper spine. As we're rounded, our collarbones are closer to our belly button. And as we're extended, our collarbones are farther away from our belly button, and our chest is hanging down. So I'm going to reference the angle of the upper arm relative to the body. I'm also going to reference the position of collarbones relative to stomach. That latter portion, collarbones relative to stomach, is really what we're getting after here, because we want to change our spine with this exercise more so than our shoulders. So let's take a break from this and come out of position briefly. All right, so we're going to work on pails and rails. There will be efforts at your shoulder and at your spine. I think with this experiment here, you should be able to just listen and follow along. But if you're ever confused, just look up and I'll give you some visual cues with my hands. So let's come back into position. This time we're going to stay with a heavy chest. Imagine you have a big necklace hanging off the sternum and it's pulling your sternum farther down than anything else. Come back into position, rest your head on the block, and allow your chest to open. We want the center of the breastbone to be the point of the body that is lowest to the floor. As you breathe, allow yourself to relax and soften, lowering the center of your chest. We're going to do 2 pails and rails from this position. Let's get a little deeper into stretch first. Now that your center chest is low, we're going to very slightly rotate the rib cage as if you're trying to push your left armpit lower to the floor than your right armpit. Let that left side stretch for a second and take a breath. Then switch your rotation. Drive the right armpit lower than the left. Breathe in this stretch. Keep going back and forth. Left armpit for a breath. Right armpit for a breath. Try to use this to wiggle your way lower into this stretch. Give it one more on each armpit. Okay, center yourself out, so once again the center of chest is the lowest portion to the ground. Then breathe in and create some body tension by stiffening your legs, your abs, and squeezing your palms together. Now with 10% effort, I want you to drive your elbows into the bench as if you're bringing your upper arm back to your side. So this is an effort at your shoulder. Next, imagine that there's a heavy hand on your upper back, right between your shoulder blades. You're going to try, without moving, to bring your collarbones closer to your belly as if you're beginning to put pressure into that hand between your shoulder blades. So now this is a spine effort. Ramp up the effort at shoulders and at spine gradually until you achieve a moderate but strong effort in both places. Hold this effort for 10 seconds. When we switch to rails, we will do the same order. First, relax your pails effort, and then attempt to lower your chest by lifting your elbows. So you should feel a back of shoulder contraction. Next, try to drive the center of your chest lower by pulling your collarbones away from your belly button. This should drive a strong contraction in your upper back, a contraction that runs along either side of the spine. Ramp up both efforts as high as you feel safe and hold for 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2. Stay in position unless you don't feel safe. And then ramp down and relax, taking a soft breath to soften the body some more. We're going to repeat this one more time. Breathe in, create tension in the legs, stomach, and arms. With a light effort, press your elbows down and start to try to push up at the center of your upper back as if you're bringing your collarbones closer to your belly. Increase your effort without moving until you achieve a moderately strong effort and hold for 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax that effort and switch. Try to lift your elbows up, squeezing the back of your shoulders, and try to open your chest more, squeezing your upper back. Ramp up both efforts nice and strong. Hold here 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Slowly and carefully exit this position. While we're here in front of our object, we're going to take a little rest and work on our ankles. So we're going to work on the ankle in conjunction with the knee. So let's just keep our elbows resting as if we're in a low plank on this object, and you got your thighs vertical, your knees under your hip joints. Pretty simple here. We're going to make sure we do not change the position of our pelvis, and we're just going to pick one foot and pull it up toward our butt as high as we can. Then keep the angle of your knee closed and just circle your big toe around for ankle cars. The goal here is to see if you can keep the knee in the same position while the ankle circles around without seeing your shin drop and lift with each ankle car. We'll do this for about 20 seconds in each direction. 3, 2, 1, switch directions. Make sure you're still pulling your calf close to your hamstring. As close as you can. 3, 2, 1, relax that leg down. Then switch to the opposite side. Pull your other foot as close to your butt as possible. Hold it high and circle your big toe. 20 seconds in this direction. Keep pulling that calf towards your back, the back of your thigh. 3, 2, 1, switch directions. Keep it going. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Let's use the same base here for knee cars. So go back to your first leg. We're going to think about our heel as an indicator for shin rotation. Twist your heel to the outside, which turns your shin to the inside. While maintaining that effort, pull your foot towards your butt. Hold your foot high and twist your shin to the inside. Your heel to the inside and your shin to the outside, and then lower your foot back down. Keep going this way. Heel out, foot up. Heel in, foot down. Try to twist a little harder. Heel out, foot up. Heel in, foot down. Last one. Heel out, foot up, heel in, and foot down. Let's give ourselves more operating space on the same leg. So you can see here, I'm going to slide one thigh closer to the box, and I'm going to slide this knee back and away. But I still should have the box close enough that I can rest on it with my arms. Now I have a lot of room to move my back knee. I have a lot more space. So we'll have more linear motion in this knee car. So same thing, twist your heel to the inside this time to switch directions. So heel in, toes out. Pull your heel to your butt. Heel turns to the outside. Keep twisting that way. Straighten the knee again. Continue. Heel in and bend. Heel out and straighten. Two left. Heel in and bend. Heel out and straighten. One more. Heel in and bend. Heel out and straighten. Great. Let's switch sides. So we're going to turn to like knees under hips for this opposite leg. Do a few this way. Let's twist the heel to the outside, which turns the shin to the inside. Then pull your foot toward your butt. Twist your heel in and your shin out and lower your foot back down. Give it a few more this way. Heel out, foot up, heel in, foot down, heel out, foot up, heel in, foot down. One more. Heel out, foot up, heel in, and foot down. Good. We're going to adjust to give our knee more space. So we're going to bring the opposite knee up to the box. Arms stay on the box as we slide the opposite knee as far away as we feel comfortable, resting on the box. Same situation. Heel will turn to the inside, which is shin to the outside, and then bring your foot to your butt. As close as you can. Twist your heel out and straighten your knee. Keep going. Heel in and bend. Heel out. Keep trying a little bit harder every time and straighten. Three left. Heel in and bend. Heel out. Straighten. Last two. In and bend. Out and straighten. One more. In and bend. Out and straighten. Good. We'll use this box one last time for some hip cars. This is going to help us create a very nice block for our lumbar spine and pelvis. Now, if your box is a little taller than mine, like I can get right over my box and rest my stomach and ribs and have my hands reach the floor. If you can't do that because your box is too tall, simply get your yoga block so you can extend your arms. But what we want is the object here to rest about halfway between our belly and our chest, so that the base of the ribs right here is about the midpoint of the object. So we have some of our chest and some of our stomach supported by the object. So once you're in that position, what you'll notice is that you probably cannot flex your hip as much as you want. Like if you try to bring your thigh up, it's going to run into the box. So there are portions of our hip car where we won't be able to express our full range of motion, but having our body on the box this way is going to keep us from moving our pelvis. So let's start on whichever leg you like. I'm starting on my left if you want to be on the same side as me. So we bring the left thigh to the box, and when we get stuck, we pretend we're a dog, we're going to go ahead and pee on the tree. Keep your belly on the box. This will keep you honest. When you can't go any farther to the side, turn your thigh in to lift your ankle up, and then drive that heel into the ceiling. As long as your body stays in the same position on the box, you can be pretty certain that nothing's moving. Heel to the sky, and then drag that leg in towards your midline, and bring it under you again to the box for a second rep. Thigh to box. Be that dog peeing on the tree. Be alpha dog, pee as high as you can. Then turn your thigh in to lift your ankle up, kicking your heel to the sky. Drag that heel across the ceiling until you hit your midline. Stay here and reverse directions. Slide your knee and your foot to the left as far as you can until you're stuck, and then keep your knee high and lower your foot. Sweep your thigh back into the box, and then drop your leg underneath you, and donkey kick that heel up for your second rep this way. Heel to sky, slide that leg to the side. When you can't go any farther and you're double sure, you drop your foot, you bring your knee up toward the box, and then underneath your body. Very nice. Let's do the other side. Same setup. Other leg, thigh to box. Slide to the side. When you can't go any higher, freeze. Turn the thigh in to pick the foot up, kicking the heel to the ceiling, and then dragging along the ceiling to the midline. Thigh comes underneath into the box again. Remember, belly and chest stay steady. Thigh to box, slide to the side. When you can't go any higher, heel turns up, kick the ceiling, and drag the leg in. Stay high, freeze, and reverse directions. Slide the leg to the right as far as you can. When you're stuck, hold in that corner and drop your foot. Knee stays high and sweeps toward the box again. Tag the box, come underneath your chest, kick back for number 2, heel to the ceiling. When you can't go any higher, slide to the right. When you're stuck, knee high, foot low, knee to the box, and underneath. Okay. We got a few more spine exercises to go through. You can get back on your feet. We need our trusty wall again. So we're going to practice the sensation, or recreating the sensation, of that elevated prayer stretch. So you felt that moment in the stretch where your chest was the lowest thing on the floor and you had all this opening in the front and closing in the back, that upper spine arch. So what we're going to do is pick the spot, and it's halfway between our belly button and the base of our ribs on the front of the body. Just get familiar with that space. That's your solar plexus, right? If you ever get punched there, it really sucks. So that spot is going to be the spot that we peel down to in a chest to wall facing peel. It's going to look like this. You get over to your wall. You still want your feet a little bit away from the wall, but much closer than a back to wall facing peel, probably 6 inches or so off the wall. Bring your pelvis, your stomach, and your chest onto the wall. That spot, our solar plexus, halfway between belly button and ribs, that's where we're peeling to. So without craning the neck up or showing your forehead too much to the sky, we're just going to peel the upper sections of the spine off the wall. And our goal is to keep our eyes facing forward and get our collarbones as far away from the wall as possible without going below that predefined spot at your solar plexus. And then we'll peel back up the wall. All right, we're going to do that about 5 times or 1 minute, whichever happens first. Go ahead and begin peeling down and up. Just use the wall as feedback. Try to arch that spine as much as you can on every rep. See if you can ask for more and make improvements each time. Remember to keep your eyes facing forward. If your eyes go up to the ceiling, you're probably using your neck instead of your upper back. Your indicator for progress is how far away from the wall you can pull your collarbones without going below that spot on your stomach. Do your best to be segmental. Top down as you peel away from the wall, bottom up as you reset to the wall. Ask for more every time. Create some more body tension in order to work harder. Wherever you're at, please do one more. All right, when you're ready, you can step off the wall. We're going to do a variety of spinal waves. So if you were with us last Sunday, you'll recall we used the wall as feedback. We were like, hey, let's get nose to the wall, collarbones, chest, ribs, stomach, pelvis, and we practice making waves with the body like this. So what I want to do is have us make those waves smaller in amplitude, still keep an eye out for quality segmentation, but we're going to enhance the visual appeal of the body roll by using our shoulder blades more. So every time you gotta go forward, I want the shoulder scapula here to go forward as well. And every time you're arching your upper back, I want you to pull the scapula back. So you're gonna feel that same forward and backward we were practicing in the scapular car. We still want to understand the separation of joints. You don't want your shoulders and your spine to move together inadvertently. You want to be deliberate in creating that movement. So imagine there's a wall that kind of lines up with your toes. So it's really not far off in front of your body. You're going to bring your nose to the wall and let your shoulders follow. Then you're going to pass your chin by the wall and get your collarbones to the wall. And start peeling your collarbones back. Your ribs are going to come closer to the wall, but your shoulder blades are peeling back too. Ribs to the wall, belly to the wall, belt to the wall, and then you begin the wave at the top again. So just practice. If you have a mirror or your screen is set up on Zoom so you can see yourself, having visual feedback here is super helpful. Make sure you're moving shoulders and spine. The more segmental you can move, the more wave like this becomes. Remember, shoulders and upper spine are working together. Give it about 30 more seconds. Now, if there's any spot on your spine that you're struggling with, you can relax from where you're at. If there's any spot in these waves that you're struggling with, and you're like, I skipped that one spot when I'm trying to make these waves, hands are super helpful. So you can use your hands to say, okay, maybe like I really have trouble getting my belly to the wall. You can use your hands and your stomach to remind yourself, hey, that's where I need to go with that section of my spine. We're going to keep doing these front-back waves, but we're going to increase the amplitude of the wave now. So we'll be diving the head down to 3 different levels in the body like we did last week. First level is head at the height of the base of the ribs. Second level is head to the height of your belly. And third level is head to the height of your belt. All right? So if you're really new to spine waves and you need to slow it down, it's going to look like this. Dive in a segmental wave until your head comes to your rib height. And then I want you to put your thumbs or fingers on your shoulder to tell yourself to keep the shoulder at the same exact height. From the neck down, you will segmentally move into spine extension, the way we peeled off the wall when we did our chest facing peel. Once your whole spine is arched, then you're going to let your whole body come up tall. And you'll actually arrive in a bit of an arch like this. And you repeat again. Wave, head comes down to ribs, freeze, tag the shoulders, keep them at the same height, arch neck, upper spine, middle spine, lower spine, and then hinge off the hips to stand up. As you start feeling more confident with this, you can start to speed up ever so slightly, or at least reduce the length of pausing in between the phases. We're going to practice this way for 30 seconds more. Better to go slow and be very deliberate than to speed up and let it get sloppy. You may want to try hands on your body instead of hands on your shoulders to direct the segmentation of your spine. Should have time for one more. Then we'll continue. We'll just bring the head down to our second level, which is stomach height. So a little bit lower. Dive down, head to stomach, segmentally arch, and then stand. Remember, when you stand up, you should be finishing in this extension here for your next wave. Down, arch, wave. 30 seconds more. Knees can be bending slightly, especially as we come down a little lower with our chest. Focus on clean, segmented movement in the spine. Go for one more wave at this height. And then we're going to proceed to waves where our head comes down to the height of our belt. So just keep it going unless you need a rest. Dive down to the belt. Freeze the shoulder height. Arch. And then extend. I'm not really the best model here. I'm still working on this myself. But hopefully the concept and the intention is getting across to you. Again, if you have something you can see yourself in, even if it's the ghost of your reflection in a mirror, that can really help. If your spine muscles are getting a little fatigued, great job. You're really working to move into the end ranges of your spine. You got time for one more. Okay, we're going to take a little rest from that. We're going to try all those again. The low amplitude wave like this, the head to chest, rib height, stomach height, belt height. So the same 4 places. What we're going to do is now try to turn up the speed a little bit and reduce the body tension. So we're going to accept some sloppiness. We're going to accept that we're not that great at this yet. But we're going to see what it's like to speed up a little bit. Because as you speed up, what I find, as long as the speed is a small increase and not just like, let's go really fast, you'll find lower levels of body tension. Try to imagine like seaweed, just like floating on the current. Try to be as loose as you can, all right? We're gonna take the next 60 seconds, probably a little bit more, to go through all those 4 patterns again. So let's begin with the low amplitude standing wave as if you're bringing your body to the wall. Try to embody the seaweed. Let's go, 20 seconds here. Use visual feedback if that's an option for you. Use your hands on your body where you need help. Direct that movement. Okay, second stage, head's gonna dive down to rib height. Again, just try to be fluid, bringing a little more speed into this than before. If you go so fast that you're losing your segmented movement, dial that speed back a bit. Just be loose, be fluid. Bring the head down to belly height. Stage 3 of 4. And finally, head to belt height. A little more bending in the knees occurring with these deeper plunges. Take your time, make sure you can find that segmentation. Be fluid. One more. Whew. All right. Then we're going to wrap up with one more drill. We're going to start learning waves from our upper thoracic spine, so kind of like bra line all the way through our neck. So what we need to do is establish certain concepts about axes of rotation. So let's first look at the neck here, and that's primarily where we're going to see these axes come into play. So if we, hang on a second, if we bring and take our nose as our axis of rotation. So if you want, you can put a finger on your nose, or you can visualize it, look at yourself on your screen. We want to learn to tip the head by turning around our nose. So the nose, in theory, stays as still as possible at one point in space, as you turn the skull back and forth. If you haven't started yet, start practicing. Now, we want to see an independence of neck and shoulders. So if your shoulder's doing this too, cut that out. Just the head for now. Maybe 10 more seconds. Again, if you can't see yourself here, it's super helpful to have visual feedback. Okay. Now, when we pivot about the axis of our nose, what we are doing is we are articulating in the upper cervical spine, the upper portions of your neck. Now let's practice articulating in the lower portions of the spine. So the axis of rotation is going to be at the bottom of your chin, kind of right above your Adam's apple. So instead of turning about the nose, we're going to lean the head around the chin. Give that a few practice runs. So if you want to put a fingertip on your chin, you're pivoting around your chin. And this gets us to move slightly lower down the neck. Good, and our last axis is going to be this like soft spot that would feel awful if you got poked there, which is right between the two bony prominences of your collarbone. There's that soft space below your voice box. That's the root of our neck. So instead of poking that uncomfortable spot, we're going to let our fingertips lie at the bottom of our neck where it meets our shoulder. We're going to try to crease at the base of the skull, or base of the neck, sorry. So as you can see, now my chin is moving left and right. That's no longer the axis. I am articulating at the lowest portion of my neck. Maybe you feel a little stretches left to right. If you feel pinching left to right, definitely want to avoid those pinches. Okay, so for today, we're just going to concern ourselves with these three axes and let our shoulders kind of follow. So let's start slow. We're going to first pivot about the lowest axis, the base of the neck, and let's go to the left. Now, we're going to fingertip to the nose and try to keep our lower neck here and whoop, turn the skull about the nose. And then we're going to bring it all over, fold at the base of the neck on the right, lean across, fingertip on the nose. Without moving your nose left or right, turn your head, and then bring it all the way over. Lower neck, nose, turn the skull, come across. Notice I'm not moving my shoulders yet. Nose, turn the head, come across. So that's the basics. We're going to let the whole body kind of flow, and again, that kind of seaweed and the current idea. And we're going to use that articulation at the nose to change the direction each time. But this time I want you to let your shoulders and your lower spine follow a bit. So we're going to dive over, wherever we decide to stop. I suggest like head over foot, nose, turn, switch to the direction, come across, turn of the nose and back. And feel as you turn nose, it's going to switch. You're going to move down, turn at the chin, turn at the base of the neck. And we're going to notice those segmentations occurring through each nose, chin, base of neck. Let's take a minute and just practice. Again, if you have visual feedback, super helpful here. And now let your shoulders get more involved. So one's going to shrug as we come over, the other's going to drop. Turn the head, let the neck and then shoulders follow. Be very attentive to segmentation. Neck first, shoulders follow. And I'm getting a little bit too big. I'm getting a little sloppy here, so I'm going to come back and keep it a little tighter. And just work on moving through those axes. About 20 more seconds or so. Give it a few more reps. So, spine waves, right? You get some intro to forward spine waves, side spine waves. I don't know if you can like to dance to music around the house, but you know, a little bit later today, if you're getting a little funky, try to feel some of these spine waves when you're moving around. Don't have to do it in such a rigorous and like regimented fashion here. But I find frequency of practice is one of the most important concepts in joint-based training. So hopefully if you only take one thing away from today's class is that you can move your spine in waves, And maybe you'll do that from time to time as you're moving around your house. All right, the more you can practice that, the more supple that spine's going to be. And what's that old Chinese proverb? You are only as old as your spine. Let's keep that spine as young as possible, okay?